Um, I guess this is kind of a weird niggle. So I'm listening to It's Old Now, and in my last video I referenced Alex O'Connor. He did change his name. He was the Cosmic Skeptic, and I'm happy that he picked his thing. And so Jordan Peterson and Richard Dawkins are debating the virgin birth. So let me talk about both people. Jordan Peterson, I absolutely love in many ways. And in a few ways drives me crazy. Okay? There's a few ways which drives me crazy, and I'm sure you can guess the ways. And Dawkins is kind of a hard-nosed. I brought up Christopher Hitchens in my last video, but he's got this edge about him. You know, he just can't. How do I describe it? I'm not articulate enough to really explain what I mean. It's like if you listen to Jordan talk enough, okay, as a non-religious. Now, I grew up Christian all my life. I'm in a place in the U.S. where that's the thing to be. I was raised that way, and then I made a decision in my life after the trauma I went through with my father and thought about why wasn't God there, all that crap. And so I don't think Christians have it figured out. But, Jordan references things that exist to this day. Okay? He talks about how these stories translate to our everyday life today. And that was what, 6,000 years ago. So there's parts of what he's saying where I think, wow, there was wisdom in some of these stories. Like it's kind of impressive. But then, but then there seems to be two major things you need to believe. Maybe it's only one, but I feel like it's two. Number one is you have to believe that Jesus was resurrected like a zombie. He was resurrected from the grave. If you don't believe that Jesus, first you have to believe Jesus was real. Not, let me be clear. You don't have to believe Jesus was a person. There seems to be historical relevance to prove that there was a man named Jesus. But beyond that, you have to believe Jesus was the Son of God and he was resurrected from the grave. He walked on earth 3 days after his crucifixion. That's a bold claim in my mind, but what do I know? I'm just a dumbass. At any rate, the second thing seems to be this virgin birth. And so Jordan gets caught up in this metaphysics stuff. He gets caught up, he uses the excuse constantly that the question isn't relevant. It has no meaning. Well, I think it does. I think it has meaning what you believe. If the guidelines tell you that you need to believe that there was a resurrection, well, it seems to lend itself to believe that you also need to believe in this virgin birth. That Mary just got pregnant. She didn't have intercourse. She didn't get that bang on. There was no my neck, my back, my pussy, and my crack involved. Which I feel bad for Mary. Damn, girl. Damn. You missed out. And when he's asked this question, when Jordan, let me use my touchpad here. When Jordan's asked this question, he just literally refuses to answer the question. I think at one point he says in this bit that he doesn't know, which I respect. I respect if he would say that, but it's just so often he gets so upset and he feels under attack by the question, because he's got to clarify all these other points and all these things. But it's like, if the ultimate answer is that you don't know, then you don't need to go on this frontal attack defensive shield of, what you're asking is irrelevant. It doesn't really point. There's no point to your question. The question's too big to blah, 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 blah. Just say you don't know. Like everyone knows what they're asking. Did in history at a point, there's a timeline we all live on, right? And let's not get weird about multiverse shit or whatever. In the timeline we all currently live in, for example, where Trump was almost killed, but he wasn't. God forbid if that timeline exists where he died. Holy shit. We live on a timeline, a continuum currently. That's where we are. Whether there's multiverses is irrelevant because everyone, the 5 people who watch this, we all live on the same timeline, right? Was there a point in history where a woman named Mary just got pregnant without having sex? You know? It's not that complicated of a fucking question. It's just not. And it seems fundamental to the beliefs of the Christianity system. It just does. I think the resurrection is more important, but God, man, I love Jordan. I do. I think he's brilliant. I think he's too brilliant for his own good. And I think Richard Dawkins is too much of an asshole for his own good, whilst also being as brilliant. Anyways, I've been watching this a lot recently. I just thought I would speak about it. It's just crazy to me because like Jordan seems to like he wants to like he wants to show and illustrate himself as this deep biblical thinker and believer, but then when he's pressed with questions it seems like he's not sure if he's a believer. He just believes the stories are relevant, you know. Anyways, I love it. If you haven't seen Alex O'Connor, let me go put him back up. If you haven't watched this guy, and let me try and skip to a place where you can see his face. Here he is. If you haven't, that's a great snapshot. If you haven't listened to Alex, please, 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 whether you believe or you don't, it doesn't matter. This guy, man, I'd love to have a drink or smoke a joint with him and just chat because man, he's something special and he's young. Anyways, Niggle out.